Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned artist, you're going to hit roadblocks along the way. You get discouraged with your art. And the first thing to understand is that is completely normal, but it's all about what you do to respond to that. How do you move through it? I'm going to give you 7 top tips. Start off with the most important one, which is take a break. I don't mean go for a holiday. What I mean is go outside, go for a walk, go and have a cup of tea, go and just do something completely unrelated to your art practice. I've been in a painting funk for a little while, and so I thought this is such a perfect opportunity to sit down and fix some paintings, talk to you about how to push through. The other thing I do to take a break sometimes when I want to remain in the studio is stand up and tidy up. Second thing you can do is set small goals for yourself. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed with doing it, you can break it down into smaller tasks. So you might decide on the first day, all you're going to do is put your concept down in your sketchbook, or maybe on the first day or the first moment you do some creativity. All you're going to do is draw. Exploration is number 3, and it is absolutely one of the things I love to do. Decide that you're going to play with a completely different tool, like a scratching tool. Decide that you're going to play with a different brush. That might involve finding a really old brush or a dirty brush, not a dirty brush, a half-broken brush. It might be that you decide to go and just play with a stick instead of a brush. You might explore with different media. This is one of the things that I love to do. So for example, because I've been in a little bit of a funk, that might be exploring a different medium. So recently I've been exploring oil painting, and it's a lovely way just to get you out of the funk that you've been in. And it could be any other medium that you explore, or you just might decide to sit down and just experiment with some of the paints that you already have, or the drawing materials that you already have. You might explore on some different paper. There's lots of different ways to explore. You'll know the answer to that one. The fourth one is to seek inspiration. So that might be why you're here on YouTube right now. When you're feeling stuck creatively, you can get inspiration from YouTube, which is really getting inspiration from other artists. You can go out and get inspiration from nature, go out and pick a flower or a leaf or a stick or anything like that. Everyday objects, you can get inspiration from stuff that you already own. If you own little things that have meaning for you, that can be a way to get inspiration, and you take the object and you draw it. You'll see a video that I've done on that one as well, where I painted a geode. I love to get inspiration from art books. I've got quite a few art books, and that for me is nearly always works. It can totally recharge my creative energy by getting out a book by an artist that I love. I love Shirley Trevena, so that might be one of the artists who I get out to have a look at. Number 5 is to embrace imperfection. You need to understand that perfection's not the goal, that it's about the journey. I know that's a bit cliche, but it is in art absolutely not about the end product. It's about having a really nice time. And if you make a mistake, embrace it. Call it a happy accident. That's what I love to call it. It's really common in watercolour, and it can be really, really beautiful to just change your direction that you're going in by accepting your happy accidents and accepting that you're imperfect and your art is going to be imperfect. 6 is one that works brilliantly for me as well, and that is to reflect on past successes. So it's awesome to keep a sketchbook that has some of the early art that you did, and you can flick through and go, that's where I began. I have gotten better. I have improved in many, many ways, and I'm going to keep pushing forward, and I'm going to stay resilient, and I'm going to keep creating art. The final one is number 7, which is about seeking feedback. And And that can be that you could reach out to someone that you know is an artist that you enjoy, or anyone that you know will give you some art-related feedback. So not someone who is harsh, that's never going to help when you're in a funk, but someone who is positive and can see some of the positives in your art. So I'm going to get cracking onto these artworks. This is another one of the things that I do, is fix up artworks that I haven't quite completed and give them a home, and that home might be for sale on my website, or it might be a home that is in the collage drawer. Either way, it doesn't matter. I am going to get a sense of completion over some of my artworks. And so that's what you'll see me working on as I've been talking about how to push through. And I think that's the biggest tip that I can give you, and that is to push through. Know that it is completely normal to feel a little bit down about your artwork or about life in general, but accept that that will happen, and that is okay. And here I'm going to just continue with fixing up these artworks. Probably hard to see what they are. They are two little crabs that are very long dead. I found them in a rock pool, and since I paint rock pools all the time, I've been keeping them in the fridge. Now, because I've been in a bit of a funk, it's quite common for me to do a really quick, dodgy job on finishing an artwork. And it's just the risk that I take, because I know that if I go ahead and put some yellow on top of the crab, I know that if I go ahead and just get this done, I will be so much happier. It's a painting that will be then ready to be photographed, and then it's just done. And I'm amazed at how, when you go ahead, and told you I'd do a dodgy job on this one, but then I can just go ahead and move this crab from the pile of things that I need to do. These things really hold me back creatively. I'm going to put some lovely yellow on here. The tape that I used, you saw me using the tape to lift up. The tape is a plasterer's tape, and I just love it. I'm amazed at how many different ways I've been able to use the plasterer's tape, and I'm just using it as a lifting thing. I also love to make my own stencils to lift, but in order to make my own stencils, I really have to be in a very creative mood, because it's a lot of extra work to go to get stencils out. It's quite an abstract piece, so I'm going to take my own advice and just completely embrace my imperfection, because what I was after was a lovely little way to bring focus into the painting. And keeping these little crabs kind of just reminds me, oh my gosh, I was staring at it then, I could swear it moved a little bit. It probably is moving a little bit because the whole thing has been in the fridge for weeks. This one is looking a bit weird and has lost most of its legs. I'll just move that one so you can see that. And this one is nearly completely intact and very brown. But as you can see, I've drawn it in red, because I'll just move these pencils. And I would absolutely love to know whether in the comments below, I would absolutely love to know whether or not you think the crab and all of that lifting helped. And I'll show you the before, and now I'll show you the after. And did I improve it? It probably, now I'm looking at it, needs more darks. I can see that hanging onto these crabs is not as helpful as I thought. It's just kind of bothered me having it in the fridge. So I'm going to feel good about throwing that out as well. I compost everything, so that is going to go, all of this is going to go into my compost. I can see when looking at this one, it is in dire need of darks. I promised, I said I'd talk about the materials that I was using to improve the paintings. With this one, it was a Payne's Grey Winsor & Newton water-soluble marker. It's a watercolour marker, in fact, and then I signed my signature with this pretty blue. The thing about these markers is that they are light fast, so I'm always into using archivally sound products so that my paints don't fade and all that sort of stuff. So the other paintings on this one, I also used the Winsor & Newton Payne's Grey watercolour marker, and I was re-outlining the black mark. So I'd drawn it on with a black water-soluble marker, washed over a stack of water and lovely colours and paint, and it meant that the whole black got diluted. So I was re-outlining, and I think that's really brought it forward and improved it. And the other one that I showed you working on at the beginning was this one here, and this has these little light areas that I wanted to look as though is popping through the water, and I kind of never really convinced myself, and it certainly doesn't need any dark. So what I got was a white marker, and it's an acrylic marker, and I went around and just softened all the little tiny, not softened, highlighted, the opposite, highlighted little tiny bits of watercolour, highlighted little tiny bits of white. I'm just going to see if I can remove in there to make that look a little lighter. And pick it up. Yep, that's better. Just remove excess moisture. I'll do this one too. Put the colour over there. Rub, remove. I've got a video on all the different ways you can lift. This is one of many. And using a stencil is an awesome way to lift. Makes it really, really easy. I do have some circles. I'm just continuing to use it. It's not really good for this tip to be doing that, but I just wanted to, get it done now. So you would have seen that one at the beginning of the video. So did I improve that one? That's really hard to know. I would love your feedback on it though. I was starting to make little ripple type marks, and that's another way that I can lift this painting. But if I'm going to do more lifting, then I'm going to use a flat brush. It's quite a cheap brush. And the beauty of using a cheap brush is that it doesn't matter what I do to the bristles, because it didn't cost me much money, so that always makes me kind of happy. I'm just going around and removing the ripple, because I could see why I put the ripple in. It's just that it needed more work. And again, I'm using that technique where I'm not doing a continuous line. I constantly break the line, in fact. It's just occurred to me that that is the side of the rock, and perhaps it would go down. So I don't know whether that's better or worse. That's the side edge of the rock. Just make it softer, that's all. That's the main thing. Okay. Oh, there you go. Some ripples over here that I'll improve a little bit. I can get quite bored with this process of fixing paintings up. I just love the beginning part of creating. I love the excitement you have when you're starting a project. And so I often have many unfinished paintings, and I just don't like the end part at all. I just love the first part. I think that's part of why I love watercolour, because in the first part of your creations, you're just spending time in your creative zone, bringing an idea that you've had out into the world, which is what creative people do. They have ideas and they think, I'm going to bring that to fruition. And then you've got to accept your imperfections. Just put a light patch on that one. That's better, isn't it? Oh, that one needs a light patch. There. You would have also seen me using a little sponge. I'm going to get that out and just talk about that, because that was something else that I used. It's still a little bit damp in there, so maybe I'll remove a bit more. Yeah, these sponges are wonderfully, this will be rough, just rough enough for this sort of paper. This is watercolour paper, and that's why I'm able to keep rubbing. Yeah, I'm just lifting bits. Oh, that's much better. Okay, that has completely clapped. It's a kitchen sponge. And again, that's in that video about lifting. There's all sorts of lovely things. Well, I think the little ripples have really helped. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? And the little patches of light. Oh, I'm pretty pleased with it now. That's so weird. Oh, I've got this tiny little bit left and I can't resist removing it's collapsing and leaving little bits of grit. It's already signed, so I don't have to worry about it. And then I'm done. So I hope that if you found anything helpful, that you'll give me a thumbs up, because that's the encouragement I need to keep going, and that gives me a lift. But that is seeking gratification that is outside my control. So it's not an ideal method for me to be wanting. It's just life, and it's just the truth. It is what I want. I want likes and I want watch time, and I really enjoy making these videos because I no longer teach face-to-face, and YouTube is now my teaching platform. So I hope if you got something out of the video that you'll give me a thumbs up, or you comment down below about ways that you have to get through those creative periods when everything is just not going right and you just need to keep going. The final thing that I'll say is that I've listened to many podcasts. Maria Stolja has a podcast where she interviews Australian artists. And one of the things that they will often say about being in a funk is that they don't consider painting to be something that you walk away from or take a break from. Those serious artists just say, no, go into your studio and work. That the inspiration will come back if you just work. And I guess this is a thing that I'm doing now, is that I got in and did a little bit of work, and I'll let you know whether or not the inspiration returned. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, guys.